participants, kindly be seated. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon all of you. Distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, we came to the end of our 3-day deliberation, or indeed 2.5 days. We have interacted between each other, sharing views, ideas, and experiences in our collective effort to establish peace, the eternal peace in our world. Though we haven't much time to share opinions and ideas, but I do believe that we have communicated between each other from heart to heart. Al-hiwar min al-qalbi ila al-qalbi in Arabic sentence. A dialogue from heart to heart. Because we share as the general themes of the World Peace Forum since its inception in the year 2006, which is one humanity, one destiny, and one responsibility. As have been said by many speakers, that we are brothers and sisters, and we share one humanity. And therefore, in my humble opinion, even religion, indeed all religions, are from God, the Creator, but not for God only. Religion, as Islam, which I believe, is from God, Allah the Almighty, but for human being and humanity. This is the very essence of religion, of culture, and of civilization, which is humanity. If we put humanity as the focus of our consciousness, I think no obstacle at all for the people of different faiths, nationalities, ethnicities to work together. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if we say the second key word in the general theme of the World Peace Forum, which is responsibility, is because we do believe that there should be a balance between rights and responsibility, between rights and duties. Maybe in Arabic term, at-tawazun bainal huquq wal mas'uliyat. This is the middle way, the middle path. If I say it in the beginning, during the opening ceremony, which I love to quote, the conclusion from the Interaction Council, which is group of former head of state and government, that there have been a cumulative global damages in our life, the world's life. They base their argument that there have been too much freedom, so that in addition to have universal declaration of human rights, maybe the international community also needs the universal declaration of human responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, based on that, this 7th forum of the World Peace Forum is going with your agreement, of course, to issue a message, the Jakarta message, to the world, to our respective communities, to our respective nations and countries, as conclusions from our 3-day talk. The steering committee are thankful to a few of the panelists, participants who have helped in drafting this message, the Jakarta message. And therefore I would like to request Professor In Suk Soo, Korean-born America, or American-born Korean, on behalf of us, to read the draft, and then request Professor Mike Hardy to give explanation, or maybe interpretation from your side, and other members of the panels, before I open the floor for comments and suggestions. Professor In Suk Soo, the time is yours.
Thank you. I got the easy job and Professor Hardy got the difficult job, but I am very honored to read out loud the Jakarta message, but I would like to emphasize that this has been the product of our collective effort and wisdom. Jakarta message on the middle path for the world civilization, 7th World Peace Forum, Jakarta, 14th to 16th August 2018. World civilization has continued to evolve, producing positive as well as negative impacts on humankind. The current millennium transformation is characterized by the so-called new civilization, reflecting revolutionary technological innovation that changes not only the technical side of information technology, but also various aspects of human life, economics, political, social, cultural, and even religious. This technological transformation produces positive and negative impacts. In its positive impact, the rapid and far-reaching development of information technology makes our daily life more comfortable and has also led to the formation of knowledge-based society. However, the rapid changes also bring negative impacts that create crisis for civilization, as reflected in the current imbalanced world system, from politics, economy, to social culture. The crisis can be clearly seen in global uncertainty and disorder, creating a great shift of civilization, big disruption, and accumulative global damages. Those negative impacts reflect what can be called civilizational paradox. Within this context, we, world and nation-state leaders, religious leaders, academicians, as well as thinkers, scholars, and peace activists from 43 countries, gathered in the 7th World Peace Forum in Jakarta from 14th and 16th of August 2018 to discuss thoroughly the middle path for the better, more peaceful, justly balanced, and harmonious world civilization. We observe world civilization continue to face crises such as food shortages, energy problems, environmental disaster, moral degeneration, leading to an absence of peace, widespread injustice, extreme poverty, unsolved illiteracy, egocentric theology, and socioeconomic, racial, and religious discrimination, all of which are seriously threatening civilization. Number two, those crises also lead to egocentrism, primordialism, political populism based on either religion or race and ethnic, resulting in the weakening of democracy in many countries where various forms of intolerance, extremism, violence, and terrorism are evident, bringing violations and destruction of the rule of law and human rights, and political injustice and economic inequality. We are convinced that extreme in any form, social, religious, economic, or political, discourages the more positive actions of human beings. And middle path is a life orientation that promotes more justly balanced harmony between humankind, the rest of nature, and transcendent. And middle path provides an atmosphere of justice, tolerance, and cooperation. And middle path is a solution to the problems of both and should be adopted, mainstreamed, and implemented by people and nation states in all aspects. We acknowledge gathering in Jakarta at the 7th World Peace Forum, we have drawn upon the wisdom, insights, and best practices of nation-state leaders, religious leaders, peace activists, academicians, and scholars from 43 countries across the world, and are inspired by the many centuries of religious cultural pluralism and harmony among the peoples of Indonesian Malay archipelago. This is a country and a region which, through its appreciation and embrace of cultural and religious diversity, have inspired others of both shared and distant faith communities to a deeper appreciation of the richness of humankind and collective heritage. We commit to work together to mainstream the middle path as the guiding framework for world civilization, which should be implemented in political, economic, and socio-cultural life. To encourage nation-states to take responsibility for setting up rules and mechanisms for the implementation of the middle path in their respective countries. To encourage religious leaders to exemplify, to promote, and to lead for the implementation of the middle path in their respective communities. And to encourage academics and scholars to conduct thorough and extensive research and to educate on the middle path. And to encourage people to continue exercising the principles of middle path in their daily life. And to encourage stakeholders to take initiative to launch a global movement on the implementation of the middle path in their respective communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor En Sukso. And I would like to request Professor Mike Hardy to give further explanation on the draft.
So thank you, Chair. And just a very short comment that Professor Samsudin has asked me to make on the nature of the message. First is that I very much feel a humble servant of this forum. This is an amazing collection of clever ideas, of passionate and emotional intelligence. So I thank you very much, before I make any comments, to the richness that you've brought to the message that we've read out. The message is simply asking us collectively to sell the benefits of the middle path. It encourages us to think positively about the middle path as one solution to the many traumas and contexts that are described earlier in the document. We've made 6 commitments in the document, as you have seen, and there are many more we could have made. But I think the steering committee and the drafters looked at what was feasible and what was a radical statement from a forum held in Jakarta this week. During the forum, we examined through our plenary sessions the elements within the message. We looked at the middle path and we defined it. We had a discussion of the economy, of the political consequences. We had a look at the socio-cultural context as well. We were reminded that the middle path is a difficult path, and we were expressed very clearly, a very helpful input, showing the risks we took with the middle path in the impact that it might have on the polar extremes. We took the structure in the message that follows the four elements that we read out. We start with context. We continue by making observations together, by trying to capture the observations that we've made. We drew on those conversations to declare a commitment, and a convincing commitment, to the ideas that we were discussing. And we made strong acknowledgements in the message of the movement that we've made as a forum and the learning that we've shared as a forum before making our final 6 commitments. I think from my takeaway from the forum I've really enjoyed is that it's a very powerful example of what I would call intellectual humility. We have some very strong and passionate ideas in the room, but we've also had an example of humility, of listening, of commitment to a long-term vision for our future. So, Chair, that's my explanation of what we've achieved together.
Thank you, Professor Mike Hardy. Dear friends, indeed the message is our views, our common views, as can be resumed by the steering committee so far. It consists of several sections. At the beginning, stated the background, and is the middle path approach. We don't pretend to criticize the situation in absolute term, because it's not the middle way or middle path. So the first 3 paragraphs serve as the background and stated about the dynamics or development of human civilization in this millennium, especially in both its positive and negative impacts to human civilization. And then number 2, we put the observation. So we observe only 1 or 2 point observation, as we can, map out the reality or descent of human civilization into main aspects, number 1 and number 2. And then the conviction of us, especially about the middle path, and then acknowledgement, and we conclude with our how many? Commitment, 6 commitment, that as the way forward is the imperative from this forum to be implemented by the stakeholders of the middle path or the creation of the world peace. This is from the steering committee, and we do love to receive any comments, even corrections, suggestions. But beforehand, I would like to invite Bishop Gunnar Stalseth to give kind of initial comment to the draft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It reads well. It reads well. It catches the spirit of this forum, of dialogue, of exchange, of listening and learning. And it gives a direction. It mobilizes both the intellectual and spiritual motivation that we have shared and that we have sensed. I am impressed with the brevity and yet the centrality of the message. There are a couple of observations that I would like to make, which are really small editing suggestions. One is to use the word climate, not only environment, but the climate issue, because on the global level, on the UN level, and the mobilization on the grassroots level, climate is a key word more than environment. So if that could be added, or perhaps, I wouldn't say substitute environment, but if you say environment and climate issue, so that's a small editing issue. More importantly, however, is the migration and refugee issue. And I would very much encourage you to find a way to express that. That is an issue globally. I don't need to remind you of all the places where this plays in, but it is a driver of political development on every continent. So that is actually perhaps the point that I feel strongest about having added to this very good draft. And third and finally, on the to point 3, I think it is, yes, on we are convinced. And it's really in point 3, it is sort of a very good expression of the middle path, provides an atmosphere of justice, tolerance, and I would test out with you if you would allow the word compromise to come in, or whether you feel that that is politically too ambiguous. But in my vocabulary, and the vocabulary I very often hear from others, the word compromise is one that is very constructive, both politically, and reflect some of the expressions that we have heard here. With these observations, Mr. Chairman, I congratulate the drafting committee, and I congratulate you as chairman who has led us to this wonderful message, which I would carry with pride to both to my work in Religions for Peace, but also in my constituency in Norway, my own church and my own nation. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bishop Gunnar Stalseth, for your noble wisdoms. Since the Bishop has served as a member of the Nobel Prize Peace Committee for maybe more than 17 years, I think it's well taken, especially with regard to the issue of climate change or maybe global warming, because Bishop Gunnar Stalseth is one of the initiators for the Interfaith Initiative of Rainforest, as well as the problem solution to the environmental crisis. And also I think one criteria for the middle path is well taken, compromise. Last night we discussed about consultation in addition to cooperation. I move to maybe before Professor Hefner, I would like to request we move to the African continent, Cardinal Jones. Then to Professor Hefner to America.
I will be brief because I support most of what our senior brother Bishop Stalseth has said. From the northern nation of Norway across down to Africa, we agree generally. I appreciate the brevity, the simplicity of the language, which will make it easy for translations eventually into the different languages. My only feeling as it was being read, I thought the first part could be a little bit more positive. You know, there's a whole pile of the negatives. Even though you did say at first that there are positive and negative, I saw so much negative and very little positive. We need to give ourselves a sense of hope that the world is actually moving forward. I hold the view that the world is better today than it was 100 years ago. I wasn't there 100 years ago, but I hope it is. And I hope to be better 100 years to come. That's what we all believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed, we have tried to put it in a balance as a middle path approach, to put in both positive and negative. I think we are going to adjust it. Flight from Abuja to Boston, Professor Hefner.
Thank you very much. I will join with the other commentators in congratulating the steering and drafting committee at putting together such an excellent document. Consistent with the bishop's comment just a moment ago, I do want to make a specific and small suggestion for a way in which to talk about the challenges and the crises that we face in a positive way, and in a way that I think, if I have understood the forum today, also reflects the spirit of what you have done and what we have had the great pleasure of experiencing. So I'm wondering, in particular, a very specific edition. It seems to me you have 3 sections. You again introduce a sense of challenge, of problems, and of extremism. In that first section, though, I wonder if one couldn't, in a somewhat more positive way, emphasize that part of the challenge, another way of describing the challenge, is the challenge of the diversity of the world that we face. And then second, in the section that says, we are convinced, we build on the spirits of most of the faith traditions represented here, and also on the spirit of even liberal secularists in the West, even those who are not religious. But we build on that spirit and say that we are convinced that this plurality, this diversity, is a richness, and that some in our faith traditions believe indeed that this is a blessing from God or the divine. So that moves then from the challenge of diversity to the forum's recognition that this is a richness and a blessing. And then third and last, and this is the practical proposal, which I think also was heard very, very illustrated very dramatically. I end here, but very dramatically in a number of the presentations, that we would recognize and encourage in a positive way that world leaders, including in fields often not recognized as playing a role in engaging diversity, that they be encouraged to promote and, in a positive way, all initiatives that allow for recognition, there's the key term, a recognition of that plurality, of that diversity as indeed a richness, including in fields like business enterprise, where some voices, be very quick and end here, some voices, as we've said, and I know we don't want to get into pointing fingers at any national leaders, but some leaders we know from our discussion have weaponized trade and trade regulations and tried to close doors on diversity in an effort to promote their own understanding of a certain national interest. But we would encourage in the realm of business, in the realm of international education, as well as in the more familiar realms of interreligious dialogue, efforts to recognize and build on and deepen this recognition of diversity as a richness. So just that.
Professor Hefner, maybe we move to the Holy Land, to Jerusalem. Rabbi David Roshan is there. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Pakdin, for your graciousness, but I think it behoves me to show some modesty and to acknowledge when I've got nothing extra to add, and only to express my ratification, confirmation, and the support for all the things that have been said and for this excellent statement.
Okay, thank you. To the Russian Federation, Mr. Shuvalov.
In fact, I have not asked for the floor, but since I am given this privilege, I would like to support what Professor Hefner just said about the necessity to reflect in the document the value, positive value of divergence and richness of pluralism. So if the wording can be found, it would only enrich the value of our final document. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shuvalov. We jump to the kangaroo continents, Australia. Though Professor Hooker, has to correct the draft, but if you can share some more explanation.
I come hopping along. Again, of course, I support all the positive comments and thank the steering committee for the work that's obviously gone into this. Well done, thank you. Again, small things, and following on about what was that? What were we? Compromise, was it? I have a yearning for the word inclusion to go in that point number 3. So inclusion has come through in nearly every paper, and the intervention, as somebody said from Rohani, about kindness, it is inclusion. So, and we saw in the radical way of dealing with former terrorists, inclusion rather than marginalisation was making the difference. Being of the balancing gender, I am concerned with details, families and education, and that's also come through. So I'm looking at the We Commit section, the final section. So to encourage academics and scholars, I somehow would love to include teachers, that underrepresented, unappreciated group of people at the coalface working with all our children. So if teachers can go in there, I don't know whether in 4 or 5, because the daily life gives, that number 5 point gives us the opportunity to include the education of children and the work that families, foster families, all kinds of families do with, one of our speakers said, our first task is to train people to be humans. So thank you for that opportunity from the kangaroo land.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Hooker. One more lady from the subcontinent. Madame de Valibanot. You are the only lady from the subcontinent Asia.
Thank you, Professor Dean. I think I agree with whatever has said, and I don't think we can add anything more to this, because the more we keep on saying, there will be more discussions. And the key points have been taken. We have talked about how the civilization continues to face crisis. Also, we have talked about the injustice, and the basic thing is injustice, and that we have covered in this. And also the main problem is of the egos. That also has been taken care of. So I don't think that I can add anything more to this or take away something. I think it's a well-documented document. Thank you.
Shukya, thank you. I would like to invite participants from a country in Eastern Europe first. The Mufti of Slovenia.
Thank you, Professor Dean. It was really a great pleasure to be at this conference. As European people and Muslims especially, we are facing now with a big crisis concerning the migration, and that's a really big issue in the European context. So with migration also we in some way see that is the anti-Semitism and Islamophobia is rising, and for that reason we have to warn also the politicians and the states leaders to do more in that field. So Middle Path will help us also to solve some problems that we are facing with them right now, and we support this Jakarta message, which help also our Muslims, especially autochthonous Muslims in the European continent, to show that from the Indonesian side and from the big nation we have a lot to learn, and to show that Muslims also understand what's happening in the modern world. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And we come down now to Southeast Asia, maybe from Malaysia, one, and from Indonesia, host country, if possible, one lady. And gentlemen, I didn't recognize you from here. From Malaysia.
Malaysia, yeah. Thank you, Pak Chairman. I do not mean to rock the boat, but this is a very important communique, a very important document reflecting the aspirations of 43 nations, and it's going to be publicized. I feel the first paragraph is very important. The first paragraph as drafted doesn't have the media bite. It hasn't got it should summarize the gist of the problem, and preferably mention something about the world is moving towards radicalism, inequalities, and even towards cures. So summarize the problem, then we talk about the middle part. That way we get my point is the first paragraph is very important.
Okay, thank you. Terima kasih. One more from Southeast Asia, maybe a lady participants from Indonesia who wants to share. If not, we move to the Middle East country, maybe a participant from Aljazair, from Morocco. You want to share, Professor Mariam? Yeah.
I think that promoting the middle path concept, it's more important for educational fields. Educational fields. Yes. Yeah. Also, increasing the welfare of human being. It's more important. Also, prohibiting any kind of injustice and corruption. Thank you.
Education and corruption. Okay. One more lady from, maybe we move to Japan. Madam Nakamura, a lady or gentleman? Prof. Nakamura, please.
I second the point raised by Professor Bob Hefner as to the challenge of increasing diversity. And I think we should mention the major causes of the increasing diversity. One, dislocation of a large number of people from their homeland as refugees because of the internal domestic conflict as well as regional conflict. And the second, the voluntary migration seeking better life across the national borders. I think these two major processes are increasing the diversity in world world situation. And even though English is not my native language, I would think that there may be a possibility of improving the choice of words. For example, page 3, the first line of point 1, to work together to maintain. I think I should choose the word promote the middle path. Yeah, I think maintain is a bit conservative. We should be looking forward. And the point 2, for the implementation of the middle path in their respective countries, as well as in the worldwide context. I am referring to the effort should be made in international or regional organizations as well. Thank you.
Okay, there is a lady over there. I couldn't recognize you. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm Charlotte Chushana from the National Council of Women of Indonesia. First of all, I appreciate the team who have made the Jakarta message, and I agree with the other participants that it is very important to pay attention on education, because if we talk about peace, we cannot avoid the character. That is why education, especially in early education, all of us should pay attention to the education who build persons which tolerant, and then no hate corruption, and then of course have the character to work hand in hand with all of with all friends, not not discriminate or wrong religion, wrong racial, no, but we should build strong solidarity, strong tolerance, and especially for the Muslim people, Allah teach us lakum dinukum waliyadi. Then it is clearly explained that we should honor another religion because lakum dinukum waliyadi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, representative from the Indonesian Congress of Women. And we move to another woman, a lady from Italy.
Thank you. Thank you to the committee. It worked very well. I don't repeat anything, but want to support what Professor Nakamura said, and just two very small details. One is the lack of word dialogue, that I think in the third point of we are convinced could be used, because like a tool, essential tool of the middle path. And number 4, the middle path is a solution. It seems to me a word that's not very in the spirit of middle path, maybe better a way to solve. It's too much assertive, just that.
We go down to further south, South Africa. Okay. Please, Sheikh.
On behalf of South Africa, we endorse the message, the Jakarta message. I would like to make references to the last comment, to encourage respect for difference of opinion, and to have to encourage negotiations and dialogue with respect, perhaps to be considered as an important dimension, because we know the middle path is a path that is conflicted by the two extremes, and by looking at how to deal with those particular areas, there should be the extent of tolerance, respect, but also dialogue and negotiations. And lastly, I would love to have somewhere in this particular commitment something to be highlighting the aspects relating to youth, because the young men and young women makes up a great percentage of world population, and there should be an extent of encouragement by this particular World Peace Forum, an engagement with young men and young women, where we could be able to lay down the guiding principles towards the middle path. I thank you.
Thank you. And we move to Iran first. Ayatollah Muzaffari.
Thank you very much. I think we have covered all the topics that raised in our sessions. Just a few points I want to mention. In the last part, our commitment. In the first paragraph, number 1, to work together as to mainstream the Middle Path as a guiding framework for world civilization. I'm not sure that Middle Path is a guiding principle, is a general approach, or can be a guiding framework. I suggest if we take the Middle Path as a general approach, then we can make the next step to raise awareness concerning this general notion, general approach, raise awareness first, and then setting policies and standards for the implementation of such general approach, and then implement those standards and policies. Therefore, I propose if we change the guiding framework to a guiding principle or as a general approach. This is one. And this in the second paragraph, if we change number 2 and 7, number 2 we discuss and we express our commitment for raising awareness concerning this general approach, and third, setting standards and policies for implementation. These are my suggestions. Thank you.
Okay, Tashakar, Ayatollah. I think we need to listen from the perspective of the New Yorker. Reference Sugino. There are 2 New Yorkers, Imam Shamsi Ali.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to express my own personal gratitude to the committee, organizing committee, and also the chairing committee on this wonderful 3 days discussion. I have several points to mention basically, but before that, allow me to say this. Oftentimes, when we discuss about peace, tolerance, freedom, we are not yet enough honest to ourselves. And to use a little bit harsher word, oftentimes we are hypocritical in a way we present these beautiful ideas. And oftentimes when we talk about tolerance, we mean people to be tolerant to us, but then we forget that we ourselves are not enough tolerant to others. So I think it's very important that honesty is necessary in this kind of discussion. To take on the note that Professor Hafner mentioned about human diversity, I think we have to take into consideration very seriously about the importance of equality in terms of human righteousness and human dignity. The Holy Quran is very clear. When it talks about human righteousness, it doesn't begin with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, but Ya ayyuhal nas. Ya ayyuhan nas inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu. And amazingly, the Holy Quran uses the word an-nas first, and secondly, it connects between at-taqwa and karama, between human righteousness and human dignity. In other words, that Islam acknowledges, recognizes righteousness and dignity of all human beings without any exception. There is no bounds here. Even there is no religious bounds. Each person has human dignity and human righteousness. So it is very much important to take into consideration when we talk about human diversity and human equality. It is very much important in connection to the immigration issue in the Western society at the moment, because of that racial views. People differentiate themselves on the basis of ethnicities, on the basis of races, on the basis of skin colors, and that's what the problem is. The rise of nationalistic, if I may say, extremism in the West at the moment is very much problematic to our human civilization. So I think we have to talk this very, very seriously. But also I'd like to make this note. Our friends, the monk, you talk about inter-religious and interracial marriage. I would like to remind ourselves that when we talk about harmony and peace, it doesn't necessarily mean to sacrifice fundamental faith that we believe in. It is not necessarily to sacrifice it. So we have to respect each community's faith and tradition in this regard. So we don't have to question, for example, some Muslims do not allow inter-religious marriage. We don't have to question that because they believe in that. And that's what respect is all about. Finally, when it comes to this, I just have a small note. We are convinced, the number one, extremism in any form, social, religious, economic, and political, discourages. I would like to use even a stronger term, in term, and I take this from the hadith. إياكم والتهلكة فإن التهلكة تهدي إلى إياكم الغلو فإن الغلو يهدي إلى التهلكة. Be aware of extremism because extremism leads into destruction. So I would like to use, instead of discourages, it destroys. And it's not only destroys positive human actions, but destroys lives and human civilizations. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Please, Rabbi from Australia, I think.
I'm neither a rabbi nor from Australia, but I'm Phil Rosenberg from the World Jewish Congress. I'm from the United Kingdom.
Sorry,
United Kingdom. Australia is a very fine country, but I'm from the United Kingdom. First of all, Professor Dr. Dean Shamsuddin, I first of all wanted to thank you so much. Your name, if my Arabic is correct, means faith, son of the faith, and I think it's fair to say that you're the son of all the faiths, really, in terms of how you've convened us and led us so well. I wanted to say that in very general terms how much I appreciate the drafting, and what I particularly appreciated about it is the universality of the middle path approach. There have been suggestions that we speak in more general terms and we think about disapplying the middle path in certain contexts. I think it's important that we think about the middle path for everybody, because even where there are serious conflicts, we need probably the middle path more than anywhere else. I would urge the continued universalism of it. One further point, which is in the We Acknowledge section, which rightly praises Indonesia's diversity and the inclusion that it's produced. The one thing I would say is that we shouldn't rest on our laurels. Only God is perfect. So it'd be good to include something in there where it says this is a country and a region which through its appreciation and embrace of cultural and religious diversity, perhaps adding and through always aspiring for even more inclusion, so that we acknowledge that everywhere there is room for improvement and that we continue to strive for the middle path everywhere. And I just wanted to end by again thanking you, Professor Dr. Dean Shamsuddin, for this wonderful conference.
Thank you. We move to Switzerland.
Refrain
Simone is with us just later on. reference ceremony? If not,
yes,
you go back to Japan.
Yeah, Padin, I'm here. Padin, I'm here. You called on me. I'm in the back here.
Oh, you want to speak? Yeah.
Thank you very much for this excellent draft, and I also support many of the additions that have.
Please come forward to the first row. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I join those who have appreciated the work of the steering committee to draft this document, and I also think it's important that some of the additions that have been made, so thank you very much for that. I think during the meeting we also talked about the issue of including youth, so I really strongly want to emphasize that again, the importance of highlighting youth, and also I would say empowerment of women and overcoming injustice between men and women is also an important aspect of the middle path. So maybe if this could be added, I hope you find the right place for adding this. Thank you.
Thanks, Reverend Simone from the World Lutheran Council. Now we move to Japan. Oh, Professor Nakanishi.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And I strongly support the inclusion of the youth and also empowerment of women. And probably on the last point, we commit in number 6, we encourage stakeholders, particularly the youth and the women, to insert. That's my specific suggestion. I have one more specific suggestion, that is we commit number 2 and encourage nation states. But I think it is important to include civil societies. That's my 2 suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you. France, Professor Ali is with us. Delphine Ali. Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank you first for this excellent 3 days. I would like to say that I appreciate very much the fact that world civilization is in the singular in the draft of the final declaration. And I would just add that I strongly support the way, well, the approach of the middle path as a way rather than a solution, comment which was made earlier, and the emphasis on education and implementation.
We cross the Atlantic to New York again. Reference Sugino.
I think all the comments, most of the comments, I support education, importance of education, dialogue, inclusion of dialogue, and so on, youth. But I think the statement is statement. We will support and we will publicize this through even Religions of Peace Global Network. But I think a key point is in religious communities, there are 2 distinct functions. One is normative responsibilities, and another is pastoral responsibilities, and it cut across different communities. So we are setting the norm, important new concept, new notion of the middle path, clearly as a norm, and then in our pastoral work, dealing with real people, real life, real societies, we have to apply the spirit of Vasatiya in our work.
Maybe Professor Nizami, if you have something to share.
Well, I share the gratitude of the panelists for having invited us and for such an enriching discussion. Thank you.
And then who else want to comment from the participants?
Good morning. Salam sejahtera to all. I'm Pailing from Malaysia. First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizer for having successfully organized 7 World Peace Forum. And this is yet another successful 7 World Peace Forums. I would like to take this opportunity to suggest a declaration to form a global middle path movement to continue the commitment that we have laid down. I really impressed with this paper that done by the committee. There are 6 commitments. Boleh? I think you have the paper. The first one is to continue to work together to mainstream the middle path as a guiding framework for world civilization, which should be implemented in political, economic, and social cultural life. 正经教. So let's go down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. One gentleman from Malaysia, yeah? Huh? Yes, Sri Lanka, sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon for everyone. This forum is a timely needed one. In order to attain peace, a number of efforts are put in place across the world. However, it is still an unachievable daylight dream of the world. Some states claim that they are secular, but they are in favor of one religion. Similarly, some states claim that they are religious, but they never practice the particular religion in a moderate way or by exercising the middle path. So, we hope that this forum would insist the world political leaders and the religious leaders to work seriously for the peace of the world by adopting and exercising the 6 resolutions passed today through this forum. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I don't forget our close neighbor country, Timor-Leste. Mr. Arif Sagran is with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think
Where are you?
I'm here. Yeah, thank you very much. This is the forum. It's very important to us to discuss about the peace, cooperation between us. As a new country, Timor-Leste, I've been here since the first World Peace Forum till now, and I hope with this forum we maintain cooperation, communication between all of us. Again, this forum is very important to us to cooperation in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And also our close neighbor, Brunei Darussalam. Okay.
Okay. I am from Brunei Darussalam. Firstly, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And still in the morning, afternoon nearly. Firstly, I want to thanks especially to Pak Din and Tan Sri who had met me yesterday and today. And I think I have a big suggestion for you. Since the title of this conference is the 7th World Peace Forum, I think it's more, what do you call it? It's more very, very good if the word world, we use it for this peace forum. It's more justice and it's more middle path. If we had a next forum to another country in this ASEAN, for example, in my country in Brunei Darussalam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please send our best regards to the Sultan.
Inshallah.
For possible next the next 2 years.
Okay.
I think we need to.
I will come with Padin to pay a courtesy respect call to the Sultan. And you make it happen.
Okay. That's your responsibility. Maybe Dr. Dasuki from Egypt. Yeah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في نهاية هذا المنتدى أؤكد على فكرة أساسية وهي أن الإيمان من أفراد العالم من الديانات المختلفة هو الأساس الذي يجب أن نعمل عليه في مواجهة الجوانب المادية، لأن الإيمان يولد الكرامة الإنسانية ويولد التقوى ويولد العدل. هذا الجمع المبارك العالمي لا شك أنه يحمل رسائل إيجابية وقيم إيجابية، مهمة كل منا أن ينقل هذه القيم، قيم الكرامة الإنسانية، قيم العدل، قيم التوازن، قيم أن هناك بعد هذه الحياة الدنيا هناك الآخرة وهناك الجنة والنار. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام. I think no need for translation, that we are all understanding. No. But in essence, that this forum of the people of different faith, nationalities, and cultural background is indeed a forum to emphasize the importance of human dignity. And therefore our forum consists of dreams, ahlam, many dreams, dreams of tolerance, dream of cooperation, and dream of consultation. And we do hope we can transform those dreams into real actions. That's my interpretation to what you have said. That's correct? Okay. Maybe Mufti of Slovenia, you can translate again. Thank you. With us participants, though he came lately from Turkey, Dr. Unsal is with us.
Sorry, he's back.
Oh, he went back.
Yes.
We invite indeed as a speaker yesterday, but there has been misunderstanding, miscommunication. But we have a participant from Turkey. I think I need at the end to invite a friend from Indonesia. Lady dari Indonesia, ya. Okay, please represent Indonesia.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dina. I am from University of Muhammadiyah Banjarmasin. So actually this is the first time for me to join this event. This is world event and this is like really incredible and opened my mind. So I have a suggestion actually for this forum. After we have this kind of discussion for 3 days, it's very difficult for us to go back to our hometown, and then what happened next. So what I suggest is, after this international forum, peace forum, we have to have some kind of, either it's social media platform or website or whatever the committee can think about, so can unite all of us here and we can share their best practices. So before the next World Peace Forum, we can share what we can do, and maybe other country or other region can follow what will be done. For example, if it's related to education, if it's related to the equality of men and women, the equality of peacemaker and so on. So those kind of things can be shared in that website, so anyone can see and can follow. And if we need, for example, we have some kind of cooperation, we can do, because we have more than 200 participants here and very difficult to find or connect with each other in these very short days. So I think that the thing that I want to bring upon us of all, so we can get still connected even though we already apart to our hometown. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you for your suggestion, and for your information, video of the opening ceremony was posted in the YouTube, and I do believe from the organizing committee have put the videos of the following sessions. Of course, not this session. So please see the YouTube. Last but not least, I would like to invite my dear friend, a priest, Christian priest from Papua. Yeah. Livius Biniluk.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity I have. I think
if you have any comment to the draft of the Jakarta message.
Yes. Yeah, love and peace, greeting from West Papua for all of you. Number two, I'm appreciate to Dean Samsudin and all committee for organize this. I have a big experience when I joined this conference, and I think a lot of things, idea come from all of you. So how we can follow up this? And number three, I said this, God is love. How we can learn more about God? Because God have planned how we stand together, love each other, respect each other. Now we are 7.400 million, 7,400,000,000 population in the world. This is, for God, this is small numbers. So how we just sit together, think together, and planning together, and how we can, love each other, and no more die. What reason? About religions, about nations, no more killing, no more die. How we can, just talk about peace. I think that's very important. So I think this meeting all from world leaders. How we can we become good example, not just talk in the mouth, but from heart. That's very important, because I think what happened in the Middle East, this is God give us signal. Okay? God give us signal how we respect, because religions teaching about peace, because God is peace and love. So again, Pak Din Samsudin, this is good meeting, maybe how especially Indonesia leaders, because Indonesia is multicultural religions and big Muslim population in Indonesia. So how next, especially Indonesian religion leaders, sit together, think together, planning together, move together for bring this peace to the world. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Livius Biniluk. He's one of the most influential priests, Christian priests in the eastern province of Indonesia, Papua. But Reverend Biniluk used to claim himself to me as a member of Muhammadiyah because he went to Muhammadiyah Junior School in Abepura, nearby Jayapura. So if I'm still the president of the organization, I will give you special status as honorary member of the organization. Thank you. By those all those suggestions, corrections, new ideas, I think the drafting committee taking well, but maybe if there are any comments, especially from Mike Hardy, from En Suk Sung, Dr. Pasudevan, especially to clarify the seemingly semantical problem like the guiding principles, the guiding framework, and other things. Please.
Well, this is a historic moment. I hope we will be able to fulfill the mandate that this World Peace Forum has given to ourselves. Various suggestions have been made, and I think each one of them will be considered in all seriousness by the drafting committee, and a final document will be produced and made available to all the members and spread all over across the world. And I thank Dr. Din Shamsuddin. This is the 7th Peace Forum. From the beginning to now, I think we have made substantial progress, and I think in the years to come we will be able to carry this forward. This is a new initiative, and as I said, it's a very historic movement. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Mike Hardy.
So someone once told me that you couldn't prepare messages in groups and that you couldn't have 200 authors of a single message, and they've been proved wrong today, because we started with a draft, a very humble draft that other people constructed overnight, and we've listened to how that draft has become better as a result of all your contributions. I have 15 points that I thought I'd just remind you of what you have told the committee. The first was an exhortation to inject more hope, more optimism and dreams. We must take responsibility for that. That was really helpful. We've understated the importance of climate, the importance of the movement of people and migration. We've understated the significance and benefits of diversity and pluralism. And we've understated the power of inclusion in all our conversations. So we've got that now. They are easy improvements to make to the draft. We've understated the power of teachers and of parents in the development of young people. We've understated the importance of compromise, of honesty, and of compassion. These are things that you have contributed in this last moment. We've understated the significance of education and of corruption as part of the destruction of social relations that we value. And we've understated the importance of dialogue in the way in which we conduct our relations. And two final reminders. One was about the importance of youth, and as a demographic, how powerful that is in our world peoples, and the empowerment of women. And the last contribution about a social media platform that can keep us in dialogue and in connection one with another. So what a rich vein of new ideas that you've brought us, and thank you very much, Pak Din, for convening this.
Thank you, Professor Mike Hardy. So all the suggestions will be well taken by the drafting committee based on the methodology and approach of the middle path. There should be compromise, accommodations, especially to those very important and good suggestions. But I request from the floor, if you could give full mandate to the drafting committee to revise the draft, improve the draft based on at least 15 points from your suggestions, and then the final draft from the drafting committee will be ours. Is it okay? Thank you very much. I would like to thank all the participants and also especially the members of the drafting committee. So this 7th World Peace Forum has arrived with the Jakarta message. We are going to announce and publish this message through a press conference after lunch times. So any participant who like to join, please feel free to join in another room for the press conference. And the rest may also enjoy your lunch in the dining rooms. Thank you again for your contribution and for your participation. And this last session, the wrap-up session, I declare to conclude.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the closing remarks delivered by Professor Dr. Dean Samsuri, the 7th World Peace Forum has been concluded.
Not yet. Yeah. This is the conclusion of the final session. And now we move to the closing sessions. We are not going to have closing ceremony, but only closing session. And for that purpose, I would like to invite Tan Sri Lee Kim Yu to give whatever you want to say.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum. I must express how deeply I'm touched with the participants from all over the world to this 2 days conference. I have a few that, I want to speak out of my heart. And I believe on this year's topic, the middle part, I think it touched many participants' heart. And I think going forward, we should not have barrier, When between the heart got no barrier, we can create many wonderful things for the world. I born in 1955. I think in the BMW it's called 5 Series. I believe some may be born in 4 Series, 1940 something, which also witnessed some of the have more few of Second World War, Vietnam War. And I think at our age, we have to believe our assistance actually is for future generation. If you agree that this is same heart we are feeling, let's give it a round of applause to ourselves. We assist for future generation. We want future generation to be better. And I want to share with you this year, the middle part, why I'm so touched. The word part, I've been sharing with some of my Confucius learning that the meaning about in Western economic 4 sounds, in Chinese, 经济 is 2 sounds. 经 means is actually Quran, Jing, the Quran, the Bibles, and the ji means actually helping each others. I want to use the topic of the middle part. The part, I've been staying with this part. Actually, who opened this part? First, the part was very small by Pak Din Samsudin on the first World Peace Forum. He opened up this part. And on the 7th of this, the middle part, with all of you participate, I feel so encouraged. This part has become bigger, bigger. And the part in Chinese, in the Chinese culture, is called Tao. Tao. And I like to recite the Confucius teaching that is called moderation, 中庸篇. It's all the central teaching of moderation by Confucius, student 子思. It started with this: 天命之谓性，率性之谓道，修道之谓教. And this is how it begins. Actually, everything is still bogged down to education. If we want to learn about the Tao, but next phase is very important. He said, 道不可思议也. He said, if you want to work on the path, you cannot live even with the moment. And that's very deep meaning, You cannot live with even a small moment. Everything we do in life actually is about you want to stay on this path. So the middle part, to me, what this year in Indonesia coming out, I thought is really, really, encouraging. I believe talk about the Tao between me and Padin. Our friendship actually building on Tao. There's a saying that if you build your friendship based on money, because of money we make friends. When money is finished, no more friends. All right. If you make our friendship because of political interest, you scratch my back. You see a lot of politicians when they step down, no more friends. And between men and women, when you get married, because you see the girl so beautiful, you get married. And then the girl went, then the Tao. So we have to make our friendship actually based on the part. That's all stay on this part. And I thought going forward is very, very important. A lot of people say going forward. And I also think that we all have to really really things, especially for Indonesian delegate just now, said let's start from us. We take this back, and how we start from us, all of us in this room, and put the middle part in our daily life, and build a role model. That role model will start from your individuals, to your families, to the institution, the corporate, the society, and the country you are in. I think if we all take this, we have this kind of intention, I believe when next we come back, we will have more ideas that how to move this forward. And going to Brunei, I think is a very good idea. I know the Sultan. I have the honor to know the Sultan many years ago, and I think he has very deep pockets. And I think we really need also a lot of help, and we can make sure that every country when we go, if they are not in the middle part, with the conference, we can help them to bring themselves to the middle part. So let us all believe the middle part really can bring success to an individual. Like me, I come here and learn so much from you all, and I believe after these 2 days, I hope I can improve myself to become a better individual. And I want to tell you one thing is, out of my health, one thing I do very bad, I like food. And I don't know how to take middle part, sometimes overeating. So it can really benefit individual. Second, I want to touch about family, family. Even Confucius is actually individual, you practice yourself, and then our family. A lot of this family insider quarrel. You look at the Chinese family, the first generation make the second generation infighting. And you see this infighting in the family actually broke down that family. So I always ask people, fighting good or cooperation good? Everybody, when you sober, it was cooperation good. But what I want to touching about bigger scale, you look at even Buddhist. I'm a Buddhist. I think Buddhism is one of the best. But even Buddhist, when you have too many, also Buddhist family also got infighting. So we have to pay attention to this. So middle part actually will take you out from all this. You see, we just believe in one Buddha. Why so many? This. So this is again middle part. How middle part can benefit? I really think that middle part can really benefit. So going forward, I will stay with alignment with you all. And I do have some ideas. And this morning, while even the breakfast, I meet a lady who like poem, who like poem. And we share about poem. So immediately I asked her, can you help to give some of the poem, pantun, or Chinese poem, that will benefit from the young, young children. And also this morning I wake up, I said language is important, but no, more important is your heart, your expression. Although my bahasa not so good, but this morning I have make a pantun. I thought tonight I want to dedicate to Pak Din and the Indonesian team on behalf of everyone. I will share with you at the last too. But let me share this song with you, which I believe say we assist from this one. I have a very passionate that I thought we have to also start with young. Children below 10 years old, they don't know what is different religions, what is the different of the colors. It's only the man or the adult. We give education to our children. We educate is not to educate a human being. We all want to educate a particular human being, From young, the parents want to insist on them. So I think education is very important. So I have learned this song which I want to sing to you. And I translate it into English and Mandarin. But I have my limitation. So I thought, if this something, and then just now we have the media here. So I just sing this song for you. And after that, I recite the pantun as a closing. Satu-satu aku sayang ibu, dua-dua juga sayang ayah, tiga-tiga sayang adik kakak, satu, dua, tiga sayang semuanya. Okay, if you don't understand now, I translate in English. Counting the one, I love my mama. Counting the two, I love my papa. Counting the three, I love my brother and sister. Counting 1, 2, 3, I love everyone. And in Mandarin, Ti, 我爱我的妈妈。第二，我爱我的爸爸。第三，我爱我兄弟姐妹。第一，第二，第三，我爱大家。So imagine if in the kindergarten and young, all these are teaching with this. And children, they are the master of language. Before age of 7 or 10, they can learn all the language. So I thought if we can start with young. So last but not least, I would like to recite this pantun. And hopefully, I will keep the last phase. Maybe tonight, if I got chance, I recite this pantun. And I must forgive me if my face no good, but it's from my heart. From all the delegates, we form, and my bahasa really no good. But it go like this morning, is it? Indonesia bijak bergotong royong. Rakyat sangat berbudi tak sombong. Cara hidup Islam pasti disokong. And I will leave the last phase for delegate to help me, and I will do the last phase maybe at tonight to do as my remark of closing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The pantun, a Malay poetry, Asy'ru al-Malawi, emphasize the meaning of love, tolerance, and cooperation. And that's the middle path. Tan Sri Lee Kim Yu, as my brother, a real, a true friend, since we met each other more than 15 years ago. Yeah. He is a devout Buddhist, Confucianist businessman. He owned, I think, the biggest and the most beautiful hotels in Kuala Lumpur, Palaces of Golden Horse. Used to be the venue of so many international meetings, APEC, Non-Aligned Movement, OIC, and others. And he owned also, I think, more than 2 largest golf courses in Kuala Lumpur. One of the 2 golf courses used to be used for the PGA, I don't know, Professional Golf Association. But he's, in my idea, in my observation, a man of ideas and actions. He has so many ideas. Yeah. And Tan Sri Lee Kim Yew, on behalf of us, on behalf of the CDCC, Center for Dialogue and Cooperation Among Civilization, would like to extend and renew our gratitude to you for your endless, generous kindness to support as co-sponsor for the World Peace Forum from the very beginning until the next more times. Thank you very much, Tan Sri Lee Kim Yew. By those closing remarks from Tan Sri Lee Kim Yew, and by thanking once again all the participants, all delegate, panelists, speakers, yeah. And also by thanking, maybe you can stand up, the steering committee, organizing committee, silakan berdiri, yeah. Young activists, the LO, berdiri dong semua, panitia, organizing committee, staff, yeah. Supported by 3 parties, my staff from the Office of the Special Envoy, and also my staff at the CDCC, and also staff from the Chenghu Multicultural Education Trust. We like to thank, and also the journalists, the medias, who have broadcast our event on TV, media online, and dailies. And once again, thank you very much. And by that, I declare the 7th World Peace Forum into closing. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Please, to the organizing committee, if you have any housekeeping announcement. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor. Dinner will be hosted by the Governor of Jakarta. The dress code will be national dress. The bus will leave at 5 p.m. We kindly ask all delegates to be back at this ballroom before 5 p.m. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So no more session, it's free time, but please be ready, not 5 o'clock, I think it's too early, 5:30. And soon after Maghrib prayer for the Muslims, we move to the city council, the city hall, the office of the governor for farewell dinner. And the dress code, as has been announced, smart casual, not national dress. But if you wish to wear the national dress, feel free. So smart casual, flexible, relaxed. So have a nice trip to meet your family. Sayonara, bon voyage, ma'as-salama. And we meet again 5:30 in front of this ballroom to go to the city council. 5:30 saja. Yeah. To allow the Muslims to pray first. Yeah. 5:30, maybe we move after 6. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch. For photo session, yeah. Please be seated. Langsung aja langsung.
We kindly ask all participants to come towards the stage.
No. Nggak cukup. Di sini aja ambil. Yeah. Please the photographer take our picture from the stage. Please be seated. Silakan duduk dulu. Mana fotografernya?